Hello all, welcome to another endgame study of the Solving Harder Studies to Improve Chess Calculation series. This endgame study was composed by the Russian chess composer Alexey Selezniev. It's a very interesting one also. I think the hardest part is the starting one. As always, I suggest you watch the guide if you haven't. If you are already prepared, then you already know that a 10-minute countdown will start, and then I'll catch you up with the solution. And here we are. Let's hope you have really invest on this one because the beginning is the fun part, I think. So let's go for the first brilliant move, which is Rook takes d4, double exclamation mark, brilliant one. Well, I guess on the beginning, on the starting position, you already see that, okay, we are near to promote our pawn. The king is a bit cornered, but black has at the moment an exchange up and 2 pawns. So maybe you see immediately that sacrificing the pawn with a7, bringing the king to a7 again, and checking with the rook would be cool. The king going back and then checkmating the king. The problem is, of course, there's a rook on the same rank that would catch our rook in a2. But nevertheless, it's a team that we should know from the beginning, from the analysis of the position. So after that, what do we see? Okay, can I take the rook? Can I take the bishop? What is the best continuation? Of course, taking the bishop, I think it's the worst one. Of course, at the beginning, it seems that the bishop is attacking the two rooks. So maybe we are thinking we are going to grab one and checking the king with that. But of course, black can simply play a check, releasing the rook. The threat was basically also to sacrifice for the pawn if the king comes to the other side, if needed, of course. But over here, it's white that it's playing for not losing. Of course, here black has an enormous, huge advantage, so not a good idea. So this one, I think we can discard it very fast as soon as we see that the rooks escape. So the other option is the rook takes f2. Okay, and now this one ain't so easy for you. So I'm going to give you the first minute. So from here, you get a countdown of 1 minute. You can stop if you need more. And then I resume with it. It's black to play and to draw. I hope you have found it. The move is the intermediate check first before taking the rook back. Rook e6 check, and now we are going to a draw. What else we have here? Of course, we can also take the rook, but this just going to lose for white. Notice that we are trying to help black over here to draw because it simply takes the rook with check. The king needs to move to a7. Now we grab the f4 pawn. Notice that next we are also threatening to take that pawn. So the end game, if we take the pawn and exchange bishops, is winning for white because the promotion square of the pawn is on the same color of our bishop. So exchanging the bishops is good for white. But over here, of course, black advances the pawn. So we need to control the advance. So we move the bishop to e5. Then notice that black can't do much over here. If it tries to help promote the pawn or protect the pawn, it's simply going to fall into a checkmate. So not easy for black over here. So black needs to come back to g1, but now the king comes, we'll grab the pawn. Notice that whatever black does, we grab the pawn. And now we are playing for a win. Don't forget, we are threatening to exchange the bishops, and then we are going to win this endgame. So taking the rook not possible. Also, you may see, okay, then I grab the bishop, but remember that pattern we saw on the beginning? Okay, that's the time to use it. So check. Okay, now the bishop can block it, but it will be the same. We just take it and then we deliver checkmate again. So over here, the hardest part from, sorry for that. So over here, after the rook takes our rook, we are going to need to find this one. And over and here, of course, white needs to come to one of the d squares, because if it goes to the b square, well, over here it's going to be easy because we simply take the rook, and now we are playing for a win as black. So we have extra material. Our pawns are at the moment very well protected. Advancing the pawn doesn't work because we simply can't take it, and over here it's impossible for white to keep the win, even the draw. So it's black that it's going to win. So over here, either move it's going to be similar. We simply sacrifice the rook for the pawn. After the bishop takes the rook, we simply take the rook back, and as you can see over here, it's impossible now for white to win, because after we exchange the dark scholar bishops, it's going to be a draw. So let's go back to our main move, which is to sacrifice the rook for the bishop. And now the pawn takes the rook, and the last minute for you. Another minute, you can pause for more, find the best continuation for white. And here we are. Let's go for the final solution. I hope you haven't played bishop takes d4 blunder. Why this is a blunder? Well, at first sight it looks like, okay, we are good to go because we are threatening checkmate, we are threatening the two rooks, yes, but it's very easy for black to escape with the rooks. It can go with a check on e6. Now the king coming to the d file, we just keep connected the rooks. Don't forget black has an extra pawn. And if the king goes to b5, well, we simply can go to the a file. We are not even afraid of being forked with the bishop, because we can take the pawn, and as soon as the bishop takes one rook, we still have another pawn. It's going to be impossible for white to survive over here. It's black is going to win. So let's go to the starting point of this last phase of the solution. So over here, you need to find the brilliant continuation, which is to sacrifice the pawn. a7 check. Notice that all black pieces are in dark squares, and we are going to play checkers over here. It's king take the pawn, of course, it's the only move possible. Now check to the king, so the king needs to come back to b8. Taking the rook with check again forces the king to come back to a7. Then we simply check it again with d4. The king goes to b8, and of course now we are just going to take the remaining pawn and then checkmate with two bishops the king. I hope you are enjoying. Let's see, for example, what happens if I go over here. Well, I simply can bring the bishop outside of the advance of the pawn, so black can keep the moves. Now I go to the side, let's say black promotes to the queen, and all the fun on white side with a checkmate. Brilliant ending for this very interesting study, where the starting point was the hardest part. Hope you have enjoyed, and as always, I catch you up with future videos. Bye bye.